What's up, guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. My name is Andrew, but you can call me Andy, and this is J-Rock MD in Japan. Check this, guys. Today we are seeing Muque live right here at Zepp Shinjuku, and I am super pumped for it. But I feel like this vlog is going to go way differently than the past ones, simply because of the nature of where I am. So I'm at Zepp Shinjuku right now. Actually, this building, Kabukicho Tower, is where the concert will be held, I believe on the basement floor. That said, we are in a very questionable area of Tokyo. If you've been to Tokyo, you know what I mean. Kabukicho is the red light district here in Japan, and so having my camera out and filming everything I do, honestly, I'm not trying to get into any trouble. I'm not trying to butt heads with anybody, and so certain areas I do got to be careful where I film, where I pull the camera out. That said, I think we're about 30 minutes out from merch opening. I'm going to check that out. And then doors open at, I believe, 6 and show starts at 7. It is a one-man tour, the final stop on Muque's Ride On Tour. And I just have to say, I am super excited to see Muque. I mean, I've been listening to them since they had like 5,000 followers or less on Instagram. And they just popped up one day in my Instagram feed. The algorithm blessed me. And they have this kind of, if you haven't listened to them, I mean, if you're watching, you probably do listen to Muque or have listened to them. Like an electro kind of indie rock pop vibe, and I'm about it. It's a different speed than a lot of stuff I listen to, Japanese-wise, but very similar to stuff that I do listen to over in the West, things, lights, churches. They have that kind of like that groove to them, but rock and electronic, and actually recently popularized by the One Piece ending. The song I believe is called The One, and so that'd be cool if they play that tonight. So, as always, in Japan, you are not allowed to film in the concert. Actually, right next to the venue is right here. I see signs everywhere. They do not want you pointing cameras at the venue. They do not want you filming anything. So, in respect of all that, looks like we're not going to get a lot of footage of me looking at the merch, getting merch, going in and out, being in the venue. I may be able to get a picture of the stage. I saw online I could. So we'll see and gauge it. But yeah, I'm going to throw a sizzle reel up on the screen with some Muque performances, and then you'll probably catch me right after the show. I'm going to talk all about it. Guys, thank you so much for supporting. If you like Muque, hit this video with the like button.
So bad, you can't hide it. So that I think I want it, you baby. Feel so bad, you can't dash it. Mother, I feel so right, oh, any need.
And guys, that was the show. Oh my goodness, I am actually back at my hotel now, just kind of outside. I got this really good light. So I was like, now is the perfect time to decompress. And I had a nice hour walk from the venue, Zepp Shinjuku, all the way to my hotel, which was just a perfect time to just really soak in not just this show, but the whole trip in general. This really marks the end to the summer of J-Rock. And honestly, what a summer it's been, and Muque being the one to end it off was just so good and poetic. This was not only my last show, but it was their last show on their Ride On tour, and they really put on a crazy show. I did not expect it. I would have to say this is one of the biggest highlighted shows I've ever seen, ever. It's really hard to explain when a band or group of this size, that being a very small size, is able to put on a show like that. And the most exciting part about it was that they are up and coming. This is them in their infancy, and they just blew me away from start to finish. I feel like I knew about 90% of the songs, and so it really just made that big of a difference. I was so into it. I was so locked in the entire time, and it was very different from anything that I've seen recently because of the genre. It's very like electro indie pop, and so yeah, I do want to go through the 5 kind of criterias reviewing what I saw, starting off with the band. Muque, absolutely amazing. Honestly, have to give them 10 out of 10, and I'm going to give them 10 out of 10 simply because of the surprise factor, the talent, the power that came from this group at such a small venue. All members, the drummer, the guitarist, the bassist, and our lead, Asakura, all nailed their roles. I need to get to know their names. I almost feel bad for not at least Google searching that before I started this. But our lead guitarist, man, was such a highlight. He was not only the lead of like doing all the MCs, the lead goofball, the lead crowd interactor. He really elevated these songs, which the studio tracks are really good. They're chill or they're poppy, they're feel good, but the elements of the guitar and also, the drums as well as the bass just elevated this, where I felt like I was at a rock show. Sometimes I felt like I was at a rock show, and sometimes I felt like I was at like a club, and sometimes I felt like I was at an indie show, and all around, it was such a dynamic experience. They really provided that. I really felt like the set list that they chose was it was amazing, really. Every single song they played, whether it was super upbeat or more mellow, moved me. Like, I was so moved by every performance, and I could be a super fan, but not really. I mean, I listen to them casually. I don't I don't like gush about them the way I gush about like the One OK Rocks of the world and the Baby Metals. They just now hold a really special place in my heart, especially after this show, and I'm just so proud of them and what they've done and what they're accomplishing. And also, they're from Fukuoka. I spent 3 years of my life in Fukuoka, and I just spent the last month in Fukuoka, and it's just very fitting to see them just take on Tokyo, to take on this big behemoth of a music scene. Yeah, so the band is a 10 out of 10 for me. Asakura's vocals live, so freaking good. She really gave such a great performance. All of them. The musicianship is just next level. After that, I believe we have the crowd. Now, this one I have mixed feelings on it, simply because for the first half they were
quite sleepy, and it was really weird. Like, I was really into it, and the one thing that I was locked in, but what kind of got me was just like how sleepy the crowd was. And I mean, can't blame them. Friday night, I mean, a lot of them probably had to work in Shinjuku. These people are tired. It's been a long week. I get it, but it was noticeably poor. There were probably like 10 people who you could tell were like super fans and like going off, and I appreciated them and I was vibing with them. But I would say 80% of the crowd was asleep, and it was a shame. And I feel like they were in their MC, they were actually kind of poking fun at it. Like, the drummer was like, no, like, this is the best crowd so far, but like the others were like, no, it's not. Nagoya was better. Asakura's like, no, Nagoya was better. And I mean, they could say that at all shows, and in reality, they're just trying to pump the crowd. But like, there was some truth to the joke, 100%. And everybody could tell, like, oh yeah, we got to step our game up. After the MC, though, the crowd picked it up, and for a lot of important songs like Bite You and what else? Bite You and the encore, I felt like they really came through. Yeah, so I feel like they did. So this one, I'm gonna have to give the crowd a 6 out of 10. I'm sorry, the crowd was very lackluster, and honestly, I've kind of noticed that in Tokyo. Like, it kind of reminds me of Toronto sometimes. Just like these big cities, it's like people are just like tired. It's almost like they bought tickets months and months and months ago, and they're like, oh, frick, I have a show tonight. Damn. I don't know. I've seen shows in Mexico City, and I mean, like, no crowds can touch that. Yeah, so that's how I feel about the crowd. After that, let's talk about production. So production was absolutely fantastic. I mean, Zepp Shinjuku, and we'll get into the venue later. Zepp Shinjuku, high class place. Like, it's a clean, bougie little spot, 1,500 capacity. But the production was absolutely amazing. Lights were used very well. I really liked the screen in the back of the stage, which they used very well, blending music video bites, and it was very creative too. They didn't just go between music video and that. They really like kind of blended it and made it its own art piece. It was very, very cool, very, very interesting, to say the least. And also the set list. So the set list was amazing. I don't know exactly how many songs they played. It had to be at least 15 or 16 songs. They went through like a crazy amount of their discography. I was really happy with all of that. I was happy with the sound. Oh my goodness, the sound was so freaking good. Whoever did their sound check, whoever does their lighting, whoever does all the engineering, all the behind the scenes need a pat on the back. I have honestly seen bands at a larger scale than Muque who have done piss poor jobs at this. And this group, in their infancy, I mean, they are starting to blow up, really, after their One Piece song, but this is just such a good indicator of where they're going. So their production, to me, is a 10 out of 10. They killed it. If you've ever seen them live, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you saw them on this tour, you'll know what I'm talking about. Let's go into venue. I think usually I do venue first. The venue was amazing. It was Zepp Shinjuku. It was in the middle of Kabukicho. Yes, it did make it hard for me to film because I was very weary about using my camera. There was a high police presence and a high presence of interesting individuals all around the area, and so I just wanted to keep the recording at a minimum. I tried to use my phone when I could, but yeah, so the venue is in a very central spot, about 10 minutes from Shinjuku Station, capacity about 1,500. It's interesting, it's on like the basement 3rd or 4th floor, so you have to go all the way kind of like down. But they implemented a ticketing system the way they do at most shows, and this kind of ties into production as well. But since it was about 1,500, I feel like in that I was at like 700, so I was like about middle of the venue when I got in, which the visibility was amazing. And that's the one thing I want to say about the venue is I saw a show at Toyosu Pit, and for some reason that venue, because it is bigger, this kind of like flat, like non-hilly venue just doesn't work. But for 1,500 people, at least from where I was standing midway, it worked. I felt that visibility was great no matter where you're standing. Again, I wasn't standing in the back, but after leaving the venue, I kind of like took a picture from the back of the venue, and honestly, visibility would have been great because they did have certain levels. I mean, Toyosu Pit has them as well, but I felt like in a smaller venue, it just works a little bit better. The venue is very, very streamlined. The staff at the venue, they knew the mission and they executed. We got in super quickly. They did the whole drink ticket thing where you gotta pay 600 yen for a drink fee so that the venue makes up the cost. I'm used to it at this point. I had my gripes with it in the beginning, but it's just a part of it now. They do weirdly only take IC card, but the girl was very helpful and took my cash. I did not plan for that, so if you're ever at a Zepp location, they're trying to go cashless, so just make sure you bring an IC card. Any kind of like transit card will work. You just like tap it, they give you a coin, and you exchange that coin for a drink. And honestly, it was hot in there, so it needed the water. Yeah, I thought the venue, honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 venue. These Zepp venues are no joke. Then we're going to go into a value. Okay, so we're going to talk about value. And I thought that the value was great. 5,500 yen for an hour and a half show. Amazing. Absolutely good. And for getting a band like Muque, getting a set list like the set list we got, hearing Blue Light, which was the first song that I ever heard by them, would have justified the 5,500 alone. Plus the drink ticket, we're gonna call it 6,100. Amazing. And I got this towel here for 2,000 yen, and it was really great to wipe the sweat off here. So that was also, I mean, the merch I would say was actually priced quite expensive for an indie group, but from what I saw, the quality was really good. Everybody was buying it up, and so I mean, the fans didn't really have any issues. And if it goes to support this group and it really kicks them into overdrive to keep doing what they're doing, making more music and getting out there, then I'm all for it. I'm happy to be able to support them. I was also able to get some free stuff because I am a membership. Well, I guess it's not free because I pay for the membership. It's like $4 a month or something Canadian. But I got like a little pick, which is cool, a little button and a sticker, which I'm pretty happy about. That's pretty awesome. Nice little keepsakes. And they blasted some streamers during their encore. And what makes this so cool, going into our final thoughts, is they played a brand new song for the encore. We got a brand new debut, which they said I think is coming out August 13th or 18th? 13th, I think. And the song was called Level Up, and it was so cool. It was like a very mellowy rock ballad. Really loved the vibe of that song, and just it's such a treat to be able to hear a new song for the first time by a band that you like. And so I was really happy we got that for the last. If you guys ever want surprises from a band, you gotta go to their final show of a tour. Usually they're gonna break some kind of surprise out. So I was really happy about that surprise there. I thought overall this was one of the best live shows I've ever been to, simply because just across the board, minus the crowd, it was perfect. Like, it was so freaking good. I have to give this show a solid 8 out of 10. It would have been a 10 out of 10, but that 6 out of 10 crowd definitely brought it down. If the crowd was a little bit more like my Trident crowd, the Trident Nemophila show crowd. That said, demographically, and I didn't mention this in the crowd part, demographically, I did enjoy the demographic a little bit better. It was well mixed. We had like young people there, we had families there, we had girlfriends hanging out, we had like businessmen, we had all sorts of people from all demographics across the board. Felt like a very good atmosphere. I'm used to going to these rock shows and it's literally like 95% older businessmen, which is fine. Obviously heavy metal brings in the male energy, but yeah, this obviously being a more like kind of pop indie group, and they're younger and they're newer, you're gonna get like a kind of like younger, more eclectic crowd. So in terms of demographic, it was very cool, very different from what I've experienced, more in lines with like a music festival I've been to in Japan, Number Shop. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Anyways, guys, that is it for today. I really loved this show. It was such a beautiful way to cap off my experience, not only in Japan, but for doing the J-Rock Summer. And I only hope I get to see them in the future when they make it big, and I'm really rooting for them, and I really think it's gonna happen. If you guys like Muque, you gotta hit this video with a like, as well as you gotta subscribe to my channel if you like content like this and you want to see more vlogs. If you want to see another summer of J-Rock next summer, just hit this video, spam it, likes, comments, subscribes, and hopefully we can get that going, guys. Until we meet again, I'm gonna see you all in the next one.